Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hype, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, the Hunt, and welcome back to the Baseball Hype. I hope you like this video, and of course, hit that subscribe button. I've been very busy the last 2 days, got home very late last night, I couldn't really do much for any of the channels that I have, and of course, there was the big signing in the middle of the night while I was sleeping off in La La Land. Dreaming of the Mets win the World Series. Apparently, the Mets have signed Manaea, thankfully, to a 3-year, $75 million contract, which kind of is in line with what David Stearns likes to do. He likes to sign these pitchers to 3-year deals at the most. So they were able to get him under a very good contract. And a lot of deferrals, from what I understand. I don't know the details on the deferrals. You can check that out yourself. But that's one of the things that is happening. And as you know, he was the Mets' best pitcher in the second half last year. Yes, he pitched very well for the Mets. He went 12-6, had a very good ERA, and really was one of the big reasons why the Mets were able to get the postseason is because he pitched like a #1 starter, and he was very good. He pitched really good in the postseason, except for his last start, when he basically looked like he ran out of gas, ran out of bullets that he pitched. I mean, he pitched so well last year, and he's a great guy. He's a fierce competitor on the mound. He is was a great addition to this team last year, and he will be good moving forward. I think that the way the Mets have structured things, that he is a good example of what they have here. And as you know, they had Luis Severino here, who pitched really well. He got a big contract with the A's, and the Mets are going to try to do this with a couple of guys that they brought in, obviously with Frankie Montas in particular, and Klay Holmes. Klay Holmes was a guy who was with the Yankees for a long time, for the last few years, but he's been a reliever most of his career in the major leagues. He's been a minor league starter. So he will be a very interesting piece for the Mets. Now, this video, because I'm running late on it and not getting into the details of the contract with Manaea, like I said, it's a 3-year deal. I thought it was 12-6. It says 12-7 on here, but I don't think so. But anyway, but Manaea had pitched really well for the Mets, and he was an ace. The money he got he had a qualifying offer. He got more years, which is good, and he fit in really well here. He could pitch in New York, and that's really great to see. 12-6. 12-6 with 3.47 ERA, and a career high 181 2/3 innings, and he did finish 11th in the Cy Young Award winning, so Cy Young Award voting. So he had made quite the mark, and he was quite good. Let me see. Also, in 21 starts between July 1st to the playoffs, he pitched to a 3.40 ERA and a 0.99 WHIP. So he pitched really well this past year, and he deserved a very good contract. And it's good to see that he stayed with the Mets. It's a solid move, and the Mets continue to have 2 lefties in their rotation. We know we have David Peterson, who had a good second half last year, and hopefully he'll have a full season this year and pitch just as well. Kodai Senga will be coming back from injury, but the Mets have insurance at the back end of the rotation coming up. We know they have, like I said, Klay Holmes, who's going to be an interesting experiment, I would say, because we'll get a chance to see how he is as a starter. We saw him with the Yankees. He can be sort of shaky, especially when it gets a little hairy. It didn't seem like he really wanted to be a closer, or really a reliever in the major leagues. But I guess the way to get into the big leagues is you got to do something. You got to do whatever you got to do. Now, we'll see how he pitches. And obviously, Montas has been sort of an up-and-down pitcher. And they basically replace Severino and, of course, Jose Quintana, who both of them pitched fairly well with the Mets and helped the Mets get the postseason. The Mets, I would mention, is that they do have a very interesting group of young pitchers that will be coming through the system very quickly. And Blade Tidwell, and obviously Brandon Sproat. So we'll see those guys, probably Sproat definitely, when we get to spring training and the season. But a couple guys of note to keep an eye on moving forward that could be contributors is Tyler McGill. Obviously, he's still here. They've not moved him. Paul Blackburn, who they picked up from the A's this past trade deadline. And Jose Butto, who has been with the Mets for a long time. He's been in the minor league system. He was sort of a mid-range prospect, and he's been a very good guy in the bullpen. He's been excellent in the bullpen, but he has been a starter. He pitched really well last year. But the guy that people are very, believe it or not, the Mets are very excited about, you wouldn't believe it, is Griffin Canning. The Mets feel, from what I understand, feel that he could be like an ace. Now, he did not pitch well in terms of certain numbers. He's given up a lot of home runs, but the one thing that I was reading, that he likes to throw prior going into this season, a lot of four-seam fastballs, and the Mets are trying to change some of his repertoire to maximize his ability to be a better pitcher. So the Mets are very high on him. I'm going to say that. From what I've read, they're extremely high on him, believe it or not. So that's the one thing. So we'll keep an eye on him. He might be the next guy to take a step forward to this Mets pitching lab. I would mention, from everything I've read, the Mets are pretty much done with any big pitching acquisitions. Don't expect Jack Flaherty here. Don't expect Nick Pivetta, who has a qualified offer here. Do not expect a trade of Luis Castillo moving forward. Corbin Burns, that's not going to happen. That's not happening. Okay? So I don't expect a lot of this stuff now, any big moves. However, Roki Sasaki is still out there, and the Mets have met with him and expect the Mets to, they will be a finalist for this. They're already finalists anyway. But they will certainly be one of the favorites to sign him. But with him, it's not so much about money. It's more about convincing him to come here to be with the Mets. Now, a couple other things that we must sort of address is what's going on at first base. The first base market has basically dried up so quickly. It's just crazy. Christian Walker signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Paul Goldschmidt signed with the New York Yankees. Carlos Santana signed with the Guardians. The Guardians traded Josh Naylor in a steal for the Diamondbacks, and he's going to play first base. Then I guess Jock Peterson, a couple other things. Jock Peterson, who the Mets were interested in, and they were talking to him. He signed. What the hell did he sign with the Rays? A step back. It seems that Carlos Santana, the Mets were talking to him. So now, I'm sure I'm missing somebody because this is like a revolving door. This stuff has been going crazy over the last few days of players off the board at first base. But that basically puts the Mets and basically Peter Lyons are looking at each other. All right, what are we going to do here? So I expect that Pete will be back, and that's fine. I mean, I'm cool with that. Also, Alex Bregman. I don't know what the situation is with Bregman. I don't know if the Mets want to sign him, even if they bring back Pete. But I know that they are extremely high on bringing him in here. According to Mets Mirai's Michael Mayer, he had said on X that the Mets were all in on Bregman. They really liked him a lot. And that is a guy to keep an eye on as well. I've mentioned him in videos along with Alonso. It would make a very a good lineup, into an even stronger lineup and a deeper lineup with the two of them in there, with the Vientos as the DH. So that is what's great about being a Mets fan, is we get to sort of get to dream about all these different players now. Before it was sort of like a pipe dream, not a pipe dream anymore. This is not your grandfather's New York Mets anymore. So anybody coming in here saying that's not happening, this ain't happening, you never know. Mets are able to sign all these players based on dollars and money. Now, the thing about Bregman, just to go back there for a moment, there are extra penalties the Mets would have to pay for signing a second player that has a qualifying offer to them. So there is a penalty towards that. So just keep that in mind. And the Mets are going to lose a draft pick because of Juan Soto, but I don't know if there'll be an additional penalty to losing another draft pick on a second signing. So just keep that in mind. Also, another first baseman that's off the board is from the Nationals. The Nationals picked up from the Rangers, Nathaniel Lowell. So that was an unexpected trade. I've not heard anything with the Rangers with Pete, so don't expect. There might be rumors, but I don't expect that to happen. I mean, the industry believes that Pete's going to come back to the Mets, and that's a good thing. Trust me. We want Pete here, and he'll hopefully finish his career here. But that's the latest. Also, even if they sign Pete, the Mets still have a lot of money that they're willing to spend, about $50 million before Pete. So don't be surprised if the Mets bring another bat in here. They also want to move Starlin Marte. His name's been bandied about on this channel, and you've seen it online everywhere else. After that, I don't expect Jeff McNeil to get moved as far as I can tell right now. Again, I mentioned that he might get moved, but now I'm not hearing that much about him. That there are no leaks out of the Mets organization anymore, so we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But we do know certain things. One of the things, like I said, Starling Marte is going to get moved. I think, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that they brought in Juan Soto. And but keep an eye. They want to get another outfield. That's nothing I've heard. So keep an eye on Jesse Winker coming back, and we'll see where that goes. But a lot to be excited about. They brought back Sean Manaea. The Mets rotation is pretty much set here. And they have plenty of young players down the system that are going to be ready soon. And I'm very excited about it. And you should be too. This is a great time to be a Mets fan. I expect Pete Alonso to be back. Don't be surprised they bring in Bregman. Don't be surprised they don't bring in Bregman. And again, like I said, Marte is going to get moved. So I think that we'll find out pretty soon. Monday I would expect to continue to be busy as this video goes up. And hopefully we'll have some moves later in the day. So thank you for watching this video. And of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut, and I'll see you later.